already chosen your answer, so you can go ahead and I want you to script out what it took for you to come to that answer, get to that particular answer that you've chosen.
Okay.
Let's look at the question before we get there. Let's look at the question.
Okay.
What if the question is asking them to do what?
What is the best summary?
What's the best summary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what you had them doing.
Mm-hmm.
What did you notice about what you wrote out and this, how this looks, what they'll be expected to do at the end?
This one is more intense than what they would have to do here.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by intense?
Well, it required, they were having to do a lot of writing
They
and
had
then
to do
going
a
through
lot
the
of writing.
text and flipping the pages and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So this takes a whole lot more
Okay.
for them to do versus here they would need to be able to read the text, comprehend the text, and be able to understand what's taking place from the beginning of it throughout the end.
Now I want you to read what you wrote and then the correct answer choice and
Okay.
identify the gaps between that. I mean,
Okay.
like the differences, what you noticed.
Okay, and Thomas Edison was born on February 11, 1847. During the time he was born, there weren't electric lights, movie theaters, CD players, no radio and telephones. Thomas loved to do experiments. Edison enjoyed doing many experiments, which led him to his first invention of the telegraphy. Later, Edison had 250 people working for him, and he has 45 more inventions. By the time he was 84, Thomas had 1,093 inventions. And you want me to read this one?
Yes.
Okay.
And identify what's the difference.
One day after walking with her dog Rex, Leonie Allen noticed that he was trying to show her something down the road. Then Rex went off and returned, holding a joey gently in his mouth. After spending some time in a wildlife sanctuary, the joey was returned to the wild. So this one is like quick and to the point, the gist of it.
Okay. So when you're reading it and you're looking at what you wrote, what do you notice about those two? What are you doing that they're not doing?
I'm giving too much detail.
So let's go ahead and script out what the students need to be able to do to answer that. So what do we know about a summary? It needs to be what?
It needs to be quick and to the point.
Quick and to the point.
Okay.
Okay. And when you say quick and to the point, what is this summary doing?
It's just giving you a brief, just brief information about what the entire text was about.
Okay.
That briefly explains what the text is about. Okay.
Now, if you wanted to teach that to your kids, because that's what you want them to do, when they read the text, you want them to give you a short, brief summary, and you said the key words of what the entire text was about.
Okay.
So what is it important for them to understand about summarizing?
That it's just brief, it's real short.
Okay,
and
so how would
specific.
what specific key understandings would you want to emphasize when you're modeling that lesson?
That
That
you're
a
not
good
looking-
summary contains what?
just the major important parts of the text.
Okay. So you said the entire text. So
Right.
we know that it needs to have the what?
The beginning, the middle,
The
and the end.
beginning, middle, and the end.
Okay. So I need to teach them how to be able to identify
Okay.
those
And
parts.
another thing in my notes I put that you were telling the kids only the important information.
Okay.
But if you pull, I was looking at that particular student that had the little box haircut in your second group with the curly hair. I was looking at everybody to see what they were writing on their papers, but I zoned in on him because he had a lot of writing.
Okay.
But as I opened the book, he was copying directly from the book.
Okay.
So you were telling them only the important information, but the kids didn't know how to figure out what was important and what wasn't important, but they know you told them they had to have 5 sentences, so they just wrote everything.
Okay.
So how could we clarify that? How would you get them to identify only the important information. Because here you had a lot of that. What are the key understandings about Thomas Edison, young Thomas Edison? What was that whole thing about?
That he was an inventor. He was a young kid that enjoyed doing experiments, and because of that, he became an inventor.
Okay.
So that's basically
And did they talk about something major that he invented?
The telegraphy.
So that's basically, that's
okay.
it.
Okay.
That's what you need to. So did the kids necessarily, to understanding what this text, summarizing this text about Thomas Edison, did they really need to know where he was born?
No.
No. Did they really need to know he lived in a house?
No.
So you have to get kids to understand what was important to the text.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So that was those key understanding. So when you are doing your lesson, you got to make sure that you know what they need to pull out.
Okay.
So it was important. You put on there that it was important that they summarize the what? Entire text.
Yeah.
We said that it needs to be what?
The beginning, the middle, and the end. It
And
needs to be quick, brief.
Brief, quick, short. So they're only, when they're giving you the beginning, middle, and end, they're only giving you the what?
The important
The
pieces.
important pieces, the
That's
main
it.
ideas.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's what you want kids to walk away with.
Okay.
And what was that misconception that they had? They couldn't identify
What was important
and what was not
and what was
important.
not.
So that's what you would emphasize in your lesson.
Okay.
Now, I want to look at, go ahead and look over what did you take away from doing this versus what you did and what needs to happen in that modeling I do piece. I'll let you.
Well, this was too long, number
Okay.
one. And then also to keep in mind, well, for me, it was too long. And then when I looked through what they wrote, like you said, some of them just wrote whatever, copied directly from out of the book. But to first understand and know what it is that the kids need to be able to do all together at the end. So since I'm focusing on summary, knowing exactly what a summary is, knowing exactly what the kids need to pull out and be able to do when they're dealing with the summary question.
Okay. And I had you to do something else. I told you to think about what misconceptions did you think the kids might have when
Knowing what's important and what's not, being able to pull that out.
pull out what's important. Now, moving forward, when you're doing your other lesson planning, what do you think is important for you to do as a teacher?
First, I need to take a look at whatever my standard is, find a question type of what that question looks like, because a lot of times you can look at the standard and I don't understand what the standard looks like in test format. So pull that information, take a text, read it, and me myself actually go through and see what the kids need to be able to do based on that question. Then figure out how I'm going to teach them to be able to do that. And then
What is important for you to internalize as the teacher when you're doing that?
to understand what it is that they need to know and to know how I'm going to deliver it.
And the confusion that they
and
might
the misconceptions
have.
that they may have.
Misconceptions that they may have.
Okay.
Why is it important for you to figure out what possible misconceptions they might have when you're teaching?
Because then I can address it at that time.
You can address it. You know that's where you need to spend the most of the time.
Okay.
So that brings me to your actual lesson plan. Okay, I brought your lesson plan with me.
Okay.
And before I came in, I kind of looked at what you had listed here. You said introduce academic language. You did that. Model how to summarize nonfiction text in a way that maintains meaning in logical order. What am I missing? I don't know how you're going to do that. I
Okay.
want you to script that out. Why is it important? Why am I asking you to do that?
So that when I get in here and teach it, then I know exactly how to deliver it.
Okay. And you'll know exactly how to deliver it. And as you're scripting this out, you're thinking about what your kids will respond, those misconceptions they may have. So this part needs to be scripted out. So
Okay.
there's no room for error when
Okay.
you're in front of the kids. It's clear, it's concise, So I want to see you doing that. So our next step is for you to script out
Okay.
your lesson plan.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what could be some barriers or something that may get in the way of you doing that?
Knowing how much to script out. You know, knowing when to stop. You understand what I'm saying? As I'm scripting it out, am I scripting, like, for me, being very detailed, like word for word, what I'm going to say, or do I just need to focus on those bullet points, you know?
Okay. Whatever works for you.
Okay.
But whatever, I mean, as far as however much you would need to script out. Now,
Okay.
you use your misconceptions. Those misconceptions that you perceive kids having, that need to be in there.
And I have a question.
Right.
What on the TRS,
Like-
does it have, like, the possible, I thought I saw it somewhere where it has possible
It has a lot
misconceptions.
for math, but not as much for reading.
Okay.
That's why we use the backwards planning.
Okay.
Anytime I have a question about, like you said, you're new to this grade level, so as you're looking at it, and I know I'm teaching figure 19E, which is what you were focusing on. I always, and I know that you're using a literary nonfiction text.
Right.
So what I do, I go and pull a literary nonfiction text,
Okay.
our end goal test, and I'll pull our next common assessment, and I'll look at how they are assessing it.
Okay.
And you walk out just what we did today. Walk out the steps it's going to take to get the students to master. You do the work. Then you map out what it took for you to get the students to mastery. After you identify that, you think about the students that you're serving and what problems would they run into with doing this.
Okay.
And as you're thinking about that, I need to make sure I emphasize this in my lesson.
Okay.
So what part of what you have emphasized in this particular lesson on summary? We talked about.
Identifying those main ideas and knowing that it needs to be in order, from the beginning, to go from the beginning to the middle to the end, but make sure as we're doing that, we're hitting those main ideas, those main points.
Okay. And you also told me that
Students must be able to identify a summary that briefly explains what the text is about.
Okay. And knowing what's important and not important. So what could you have done to emphasize that little part, them identifying what's important and what's...
Kind of, we're going through the text, and then with them identify, actually pull something out that we would consider not important. Pull something out, what is important, what we would include in the summary and what we wouldn't.
So a great opportunity is when they were chiming out and saying, how he was born. Say, look, remember when we're reading a biography, it's somebody that did something extraordinary, something that's not ordinary. Is that common for people to live in a house?
Yeah.
So would that be important information? You have kids, you make that and do your think aloud and have them distinguishing what's important and what's not important and why. Okay. Say, okay, I live in a house. Will they write a story about me?
Right.
Will someone want to write my biography?
Okay.
No. So what is important about young Thomas Edison? What did he do?
Okay.
And you bring them back to that. So that's where you would spend, and that's what would need to be scripted out into your lesson plan.
Okay.
So for your lesson plans, I really would like you to work on your lesson plan for tomorrow.
So you talking
Just
about
that
the one
tomorrow.
first?
No, tomorrow. Today's the 25th.
Okay, for
Tomorrow is the 26th. I
Okay.
want you to look at that plan,
Okay.
and I want you to look
Okay.
at the SE that you're targeting
Okay.
on
That's
Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Okay, at the SE that you're targeting, and I want you to script it out. Look at how it's going to be tested from your STAR analysis, and I gave you all a copy of that before. I want you to look at how it's going to be tested. You do the work, and then write script out what students' misconceptions that they probably have, and script it out in your lesson plan, and I want to come back and see that.
Okay.
Okay? So when would be a good time for me to come and see that? I want to see it in your lesson plan tomorrow. Is it okay for me to come back on tomorrow?
I can push it and try.
Okay. Well, what day will be better for you?
Let me see what Thursday is, because I want to be able to sit down and actually script it Let's do Thursday instead.
Okay, Thursday.
That way they'll give me a day to.
All right. So I will plan on coming back on Thursday. So I should see. You can email this lesson plan to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna email me.
And
a
just changing
scripted-
Thursday, right?
Yes,
Okay.
a scripted lesson plan,
Okay.
and I want to see that modeling piece again.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.